Welcome to another episode of the Durham Bulls Podcast, where we profile our champions and our stars and celebrate our tradition and history of the Durham Bulls. I'm Patrick Kinas, the broadcaster for the Bulls, and thanks to all of you for downloading and subscribing to the pod over the first month that we've rebranded this. You can find the audio at any of the podcast platforms where you travel. So on Apple, on Spotify, and all the other major podcast platforms. You can also, if you're interested to see what kind of Bulls pullover I'm wearing today, you can watch the podcast on the video side. Head to YouTube, and Durham Bulls TV is where you can watch our video podcast. So thanks to all of you for jumping on these past few weeks. If this is your first time here, the podcast theme music we just heard is from none other than the winningest manager in Durham Bulls history, Charlie Montoyo. Montoyo is on the congas as part of his band, Montoyo Rock. So we thank Charlie for that. So over the first couple of months of the podcast, we've had some great guests who've had just incredible import on the field with the Durham Bulls, 2 Hall of Fame managers, a pitcher who won the World Series with the Houston Astros in 2022. But today we're going to venture off of the field for a story that I'm going to be learning right along with all of you, because we all know about the Bulls mascot, Woolly Bull. He's ubiquitous around the triangle. He's at schools. He's in hospitals. He's in parades, and is entertaining over 500,000 fans every summer at the DBAP. So he's known everywhere, across the state, across the country. He is the greatest mascot in the world. But how did Woolly Bull get here, and where did he come into existence, and how did he get his name? So over the last couple of months, full disclosure, I've been working to try and dig up some details on this. And after a lot of Google searches, some crosstabs, some phone calls, and some Facebook messages to people in Maryland, we have found our answer. And it turns out the answer is right in our Bull City backyard. So 32 years ago, a contest was run here in the Triangle to name the mascot for the Durham Bulls. And the man who won that contest, who is responsible for the name Woolly Bull, is here with us today. So welcome in Durham's very own Jim Vickery. Hello, Jim.
Oh, Patrick.
Congratulations, and thanks for spending some time with us. Are all of my facts, first off, correct?
Yes, absolutely. You were spot on, as the English like to say.
Yeah, well, perfect. So thank you for joining us here today. And if you're watching the podcast, 2 things are going to be striking once you see Jim on the video. A, Jim, what are you wearing? And B, what's on the wall over your left shoulder in a frame that we can see?
Okay, well, what I'm wearing is the Durham Bulls team warm-up jacket that I won as the prize when I named Woolly Bull. I still have it. I still wear it regularly to the games. Over my shoulder are pictures of the old DAP, the pictures of the prize certificate when I named the Woolly Bull. And it is a part of a little shrine that we have here in our home that was formerly a bed and breakfast, that where guests would come and stay. We would always offer tickets to games, just sort of a little tradition that we had for the 28 years that we ran this.
So before we get into the gist of the story, and it's going to be a fascinating story, I'm sure of it, tell us a little bit about yourself. Are you a lifelong Durham resident? What did you do for your career? When did your affinity and love for the Durham Bulls begin?
Actually, okay, let's see. I moved down to Durham in 1989 out of Washington, D.C. I was a Fed working for the Environmental Protection Agency. And we were looking to do something completely different, just follow our dream and open a bed and breakfast. We looked all around, and we had some friends move down ahead of us, and we followed them down that year, looked for a house in the area, and found this lovely place that I'm in now, and completely redid it. Now, in terms of the Bulls, I actually heard about the Bulls because of the movie when I was in Washington, D.C. Saw it, and we came down for a visit. I'll tell you a funny little story. So I came down for a visit, and I got a Durham Bulls t-shirt. It just said Durham Bulls, just a plain print Durham Bulls. Went back to Washington, D.C., and we would play softball on the mall in Washington. And some fellow came up to me and said, "Oh, my Lord, that's a Durham Bulls t-shirt. How much do you want for it? I'll give it whatever you want for it." I said, no. Okay, so anyway, moved down here. We're located only 6 blocks from the ballpark. So it was very simple to kind of be going over there. And the first year we moved down, we had season tickets from the get-go, went to every game. I just love baseball. Have always loved baseball. I raised kids, coached, umpired. I'm actually still an umpire. And so I just kind of love the sport of baseball, softball. And yeah, and I'd be sitting at the ball field many, many evenings and just sort of enjoying the night pass.
So for someone who grew up in Chicago and didn't move out to the Triangle until the late 90s, well after the DAP, the lights were turned off on at least the Durham Bulls experience at the DAP, what did I miss? And what's the romance of that ballpark for all of us who only know the DAP through Bull Durham?
Oh, it was just such a close, intimate affair. And little touches, it was quaint. You weren't individual seats. You were sitting on bench seats with people. And there were just bleachers just extended as far as they could go. Kids hanging off the fence outside. The concession stands. My favorite was the hot dogs, for instance. They were chili or with plain, same price. And at the end of the evening, when they had too many hot dogs, they'd say half price. It's kind of like, oh, yeah, okay. And then, of course, you felt like you were right on the field. You were talking to the players. It was just so intimate. It was just so fabulous.
How often would you go? Would you go there, a couple times a month? Or would this be an every home game experience for you?
I was there at least half the home games, at least half. Yeah.
That's dedication. Did you have a favorite player you looked up to, or somebody you kind of connected with?
Well, I was there when Chipper Jones came up with Andrew Jones, and I still have Chipper's picture on the wall. Yeah, those were my two faves.
Oh, if only you had Chipper or Andrew staying at your bed and breakfast while they were here, right?
Yeah. Well, I tried.
You did. How'd that go?
No, I didn't make it.
So, all right. So,
I got to tell you, I'm sorry. One other quick story. When we moved in to start the bed and breakfast, this house was it was an old boarding house. And when we moved in, we were looking around, and in the attic, we found an original script to the movie where the cast had stayed here. I still have the original script to the movie.
Whoa.
By the way, spoiler, the great monologue of Kevin Costner about all the things he loves about a woman. That was all an ad-lib. It's not in the script.
No kidding.
Yes.
Well, I mean, this is a valuable piece of history. I mean, this is widely regarded as the best sports movie of all time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you found the script in the bed and breakfast when you moved in the attic?
Yeah.
Any idea what this is worth? Have you looked into that?
I've never checked. We just have it. We love it. We showed it, folks. It's like, come and go. But yeah.
How about that? Well, I'll get on the phone with Sotheby's when we finish up this podcast.
Yeah, there you go.
Eliminate all of Jim's debt. So now, Jim, let's again, when you moved down here, that would have been a couple of years after the movie, but also a couple of years before.
Yeah, the movie was 87. So we're talking 89, 90, 90,
so,
92. Yeah.
So the let's get to the teeth of this conversation now. The contest. Now, the transition of ownership from Miles Wolff to Jim Goodman had just taken place within the last 12 months or so, from 1991 to 1992. The unveiling of Woolly Bull's nickname was evidently on July 17th of 1992.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so let's rewind the tape a little bit. Where did you hear that this contest began? Who ran it? What did you need to do to submit? And we'll just walk us through the entire process.
Sure. So, we're just watching the ball games early in the spring. And over the loudspeakers is announced that we're going to have a contest and name the bull, because I guess I hadn't realized that Woolly Bull had just been a feature that had a character and mascot that had been brought out for the movie. And so there was no name for him. He was just the Durham Bull. So I don't know who the powers that be that decided, but it was like, we need to have a real name for our mascot. So they announced it, and it started early in the season, and it was an open contest. And it ran. Submissions were open for receipt through mid-season, and then I don't know who made the decision. Someone made the decision that they liked my submission more than anyone else's. Apparently, by the way, quite a few people had submitted Woolly, WOOL, Bull. I was the only one that submitted Wool middle initial E Bull. There were copyright questions with Sam the Sham and the Pharaohs and others. So anyway, I was the only one with Wool middle initial E Bull.
How long did it take you to come up with the Wool E? I mean, is this something you pondered over a couple of nights dinner? You make one submission and want to make it perfect? Or did you submit more than one entry? And what were they?
Oh no, I only the one entry. I thought it was the perfect name, and I thought about it a fair amount. It had roots going back to the 50s and 60s. There was an very famous male entertainer, Bob Hope. Bob went to travel around the world with entertaining our troops and so on. And he always added a middle and actually it was a middle name to his name. So wherever he was or whatever thing he was supporting, he would say, "Hi, I'm Bob for the Peace Corps Hope," or "Hi, I'm Bob for the USO Hope." I thought, oh, Wool E, Bull, Wool E for, and there could be so many things. Excellence, encouragement, environmental, which was my field, environmental protection, education. This is going to be a winner for sure. So anyway, yeah.
So when you submitted Wool E, did you stipulate in your submission that E stood for education, or did you leave that kind of open-ended?
No, just left it open that they would be, whatever they wanted to do with it. And it, to my sad remembrance, they never really kind of ran with it, right. And I get it, sports is not about politics, so yeah.
So this is early 1992, and this is well before the internet really took over it all. I think AOL was in existence, Prodigy might have been in existence at that stage, but in terms of how we do surveys and how we do submissions to contests now, it's basically all through our smartphones and all through computers. But that couldn't have been the case then. So was this handwritten? Was there a Dropbox at the DAP? Did you need to send it into the newspaper? How was it done?
No, it was a handwritten submission, and they had sort of a Dropbox area there where you made a submission. Originally, and I'm going to only share part of this story. So there was, for a couple 3 years, in front of me who had a reserve seat was a young woman who I swear was really the model for Susan Sarandon's role in the movie. Marty was her first name. I'll just say that. She was there at every game I ever saw. She kept statistics, and I kept swearing I saw her pass notes down to the dugout. At any rate, I figured, okay, well, if I can get Marty to give my submission, I'm pretty sure we get favorable consideration. And we talked and so on. And I said, "Marty, help me make this submission, will you?" And she said, No, it's yours. Yes, it's yours. Go ahead. You make the submission. So I did. I just did it I said, all right. So that's how we'll go with it.
Did you run it past her what the submission was going to be to see if she liked it?
Yeah. So I don't know if word passed through the ranks or not. Who knows?
Well, now let's forward through to so now it's later in the summer. It's clearly a little bit before July. How did you find out? Were you notified you were a finalist? Were you notified that you had won it, or how did they unveil that your submission had won?
They notified me that I had won. That I was the only submission again with that, not with the LLY, and that they wanted to set up so I got my 15 minutes of fame. They wanted to set up the on-the-field naming and presentation of the award with me in attendance, and so I got to bring a small entourage of people. Yeah.
Do you recall who notified you? What was it? Was it Jim Goodman? Was it the general manager of the team? How did you find out?
As I recall, it wasn't any of the major players in the front office. It was just somebody in public relations who called me and made the arrangement.
So take us to the field then that day, as you have your entourage, as you just described.
Yeah.
What was the ceremony like? How did they anoint the mascot with your name, Wool E Bull, on that night at the DAP?
Well, so we got to have a little section reserve seats, my family and friends, by the way, I had people come in from Connecticut for this, Maryland. It was really a big deal for my family. So we had a small little group, and I went down. They had this come down on the field with Wooly and the announcers and so on, and they announced in front of all the stands. It was pregame. Announced in front of all the stands. We've had the winner. You've known about the contest. Here's the name. Here's the man who did it. And so there was the applause and thanks and so on and so forth. So, and that was fairly quick because they wanted to get on with the game. Now the fun part started for me, which was I then get taken, and I'm thinking, okay, well, that was nice. I wonder what the prize is. So they then tell me, okay, well, here's the prize. First of all, you get 2 reserve seats for next season. I'm thinking, now that's a nice little pricey item. But then they said, come with us. And they took us across the street, and there was Ballpark Corner. It was the souvenir store. It's where all the souvenirs were stored, right across the street, little building. And they said, go in there and just pick out some things you like. And I said, you're kidding. No, yeah, just go in there and do that. So I got this really sweet jacket. I got a really nice golf shirt, hat, signed ball. It was really great. And so I had a whole bag full of stuff when I got back to the stands with my family and friends. And they're going, wow, that's really good stuff. I just remember this young fellow, Josh Pritchard, my nephew. And he said, gee, you think you could get me a ball? So I went back to the office. I said, you think I can get a ball? Sure, here, I have several. So I handed out balls. And so everybody was happy.
I mean, what a great story, and what a great, line to have on your resume, right? I mean, is Jim, is this part of your elevator pitch as you're meeting people and maybe they're saying, hey, tell us, Jim, something about yourself that nobody would believe, something unique to you? Is this the story you tell them?
Oh, all the time. I mean, I'm on a golf course and I'm meeting people for our first time, and somehow, just let it come out. Hey, Durham Bulls, and I said, well, I got to tell you, I do have one claim to fame. I was the guy who gave them, and I'll meet people later, years later on the golf course here locally at our Hillendale golf course, and they'll say, you're the guy, and they'll go, he's the guy who named Wooly Bull. Yeah. So yes, it does come up regularly. So I'll fast forward to about 16 years ago. I retired from EPA. And everybody at my work, of course, knew this story. And they were making arrangements for my retirement party. And we're having this lovely retirement party at the EPA offices. And in walks Wooly Bull. To my retirement. They had arranged with Wooly, and the club had agreed that Wooly would come. And so he shook hands with everybody. Meanwhile, my granddaughters, who are about 8 and 12 at the time, are just over the moon that they're seeing Wooly Bull. They are in person and talking to him and shaking his hands.
This is like a Hollywood script.
He was so great. He then went, because we had a child care center. And after he stopped with our little show, he went across the street to the child care center and said hello to all the kids. It was he was great.
No, I mean, if the movie script hadn't been written already, this is a great script, right?
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing this story. This is wonderful for our fans because we have so many fans who continually move into the area from, the Northeast, from the Midwest, from out West. And this is all going to be new information for them. So thank you for that. How often do you come out to Bulls games now?
I have to confess, I only get out there probably about 10, 12 times a year. Most importantly, with each of my granddaughters, who, by the way, did get to race Wooly Bull around the bases back when they were 6 and 7 years old. That is part of their fondest memories, and they have their little pictures in their homes. So there's each granddaughter, who are now off in college and doing things, make sure that they get back in time for us to go back and each have a one day at the Durham Bulls. The big reason I have to confess I don't do it as much as I used to. Two, actually. One is when I was working full time, it really was a respite from a very stressful day at work. I'd come home and I would just go right to the ballpark. I'd get a dog and a beer, and I'd just sit there, and all the worries just went away. But now I'm retired, and now, fortunately, I'm an umpire, so I am on the fields all the time. I'm a girls' fast pitch umpire. I work. Let's see. So tonight, 5 days this week, 5 days next week. Wow. So so when I get a day off, oddly, I now want to not be on a ball field.
Well, I mean, if I can make this offer to you, it seems like a given that you should be at the ballpark every time that Willie Bull has a birthday.
Oh,
because it seems like you are kind of celebrating birthdays with Willie.
So
exactly.
Exactly.
Let me offer to you, Jim, and to your family and to your granddaughters, if you'd like to bring them out on Willie's birthday later on this summer, to come out and be my guest at the ballpark.
That'd be great. That'd be great. Thank you.
And before we let you go, you've been nice enough to spend some time with us and share the story. Your B&B, is it still up for rentals? Is it still something that people can come stay in or take a look at?
No, thank you. We shut down with COVID. And to tell you the truth, after about sort of 18 months of being shut down, we realized we really did like being able to hang around in our jammies and just kind of enjoy the place to ourselves and just have it for family. And so right now, what it is sort of the place that all family gathers for all the big holidays and events. And it's just a wonderful place. And we'll be here for the foreseeable future.
Okay. Well, one final question on the script that you said that you found in your attic that you hold is such a great piece of memorabilia from the movie and for your life as well. Ron Shelton has been on our airwaves on Bulls broadcast a couple of times during my tenure here. Was he one of the names who signed it, the director and the writer of the movie?
I do not know. I haven't really looked. It's the thing is that I haven't looked at it in terms of sort of like value and what would increase the value and what signatures are on. It's just kind of like, it's just a script, Yeah.
I just think he'd be fascinated because this is what he is known for. I mean, he has been the driver behind so many famous movies, but this is the one that he is best known for. And I just think he'd get a kick out of knowing that one of his scripts was at your B&B.
I'm happy to let him peruse it.
So, well, Jim, I can't appreciate enough for your time. Thanks to your sister, Erlene, for connecting us because she was the one initially I connected with to find out where you were and if you indeed were the Jim Vickery who won the contest. So thank her for me when you get a chance, will you?
I will do that. And just one last thing before you let me go. It is actually her daughter who helped probably make the connection because her daughter, Emily, worked for the Durham Bulls for a period of time. And right after college, she worked in the front office, the ticket office. She was also doing a lot of the data and database and went in and found the story of the Wooly and saw that my name wasn't in there. So she put my name in there.
How about that?
Yeah.
Well,
anyway, so thank you, Patrick. Thank you.
Well, the through line of the Durham Bulls and Jim Vickery runs very, very deep. So thank you for that. Thank you for your submission. I'm astounded that you kept the jacket. It still fits you like a glove, apparently.
Yeah, I really love it. Yeah.
And my best to you and your wife and all of your kids and grandkids, and hopefully we'll see you at the DBAP later this summer.
All right. Thank you so much, Patrick.
All right. That is Jim Vickery, the man for whom Willie Bull was named back in July of 1992. Now you know, as Paul Harvey would say, the rest of the story. So thanks to all of you for listening. Thanks to all of you for watching. Again, you can subscribe on Apple and on Spotify for the audio form of this podcast, and head to Durham Bulls TV on YouTube, and you can watch this and all of the other podcasts. New podcast drop every Monday. So for our entire crew, Patrick Kinas saying thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next week on the Durham Bulls Podcast.